Do you ever wake up with the uncontrollable urge to hot glue pearls and shells to literally everything you own? Me too. So in today's video we are spending the day together, and this day is inspired by the sea witch. So we will craft magical mermaidcore-inspired altar decor, and we will also do some magic that just reminds us of the magic of the ocean, the deep blue color, the salt that you can smell when you are sitting at the beach. So I really hope you enjoy, and now let's spend the day together. I started the Sea Witch inspired day by getting dressed with inspiration from the element of water. I wanted to pick an outfit that really captures what this element means to me. Intuitive, emotional, flowing, soft and nurturing. But water can also be uncontrollable, wild and stormy. When you're dressing with the soft side of this element in mind, which is what I was doing this day, think of fabrics that move like ocean waves. Soft, flowing materials like silk or satin, and gentle silhouettes that flow with your body just like the waves. Color magic is also a constant in my daily life because it is so easy to integrate and to embrace the water element. I love using deep blues, seafoam green and pearlescent white. And the dress I chose today was a soft blend of white and blue, dreamy and flowy. As for accessories, think shells, pearls, moonstone or even sea glass. And don't worry, we'll be crafting a few pieces later today, so make sure you keep on watching. And after getting dressed, I made myself some breakfast because I cannot function without my breakfast, and sometimes I even need a second breakfast. If you know, you know. But I decided to make a chia pudding this day with blueberries and banana, and of course I was inspired by the deep blue color of the ocean, and for that I chose blue spirulina powder. And let me just tell you that this magical blue powder turns everything into the dream of a sea witch. I mean, look at this color, and if this is not the perfect breakfast for a sea witch, then I don't know what is. Now, before doing anything else, I wanted to really immerse myself into the element of water and its qualities, and so I drove to a lake nearby after making this breakfast. And I don't live near the ocean, so I usually visit my local lakes because remember, as witches we are adaptable and we work with what we have. But water has always been my favorite element. The sound of waves is just medicine for my soul, and I get into this calm, meditative state without me even trying. When I'm sitting by the ocean watching the blue water stretch out to the endless horizon, the concept of time feels like it never existed. And if I don't surround myself with the ocean for a long time, I will hear the call deep within my soul that it is time for me to visit again. Water is the element of emotions, flow and transformation, and it is the element that I connect the most with, and that is the most present in my astrological birth chart besides the element of earth. And after months of buzzing around like a busy bee, I felt this desire to slow down and embrace what the element of water evokes in me. Going with the flow, living more intuitively, allowing myself to fully feel into my emotions and embracing the more feminine and soft qualities in my daily life. I brought my journal with me because just like the moon, I go through emotional phases. And because the moon is influencing the element of water, and at least for me has a big effect on my emotions and my whole being really, it is so helpful to keep a moon journal and see how the phases of the moon may affect your emotions. And if you are into astrology, you can also track where the moon is transiting in your own chart, like which house and sign is the moon currently in, because you may find that this area of your life is emotionally highlighted more or evokes more emotions for you in these 2.5 days that the moon is in this sign. Alright, magical one, so sorry for the sunglasses, but it is really bright and I'm just so sensitive to light. But I thought while we are sitting in front of this beautiful lake and are just observing its stream and flow and just connecting to this element, I'm sharing something with you because this is one of my most favorite ways to work with the element of water as a modern witch. And as you can see, I brought this beautiful bottle with me. I already filled it with some water. Now this is drinking water, not water from this lake, don't worry. But what I want to do is just sit with this bottle for a little while I'm in front of the lake and really connect to the element of water, like really connect to its qualities and really let it speak to me, and observing how it's interacting with the other elements, right? Like how is it reacting when the wind is coming, or like things like that, right? Just observing it and letting it speak to me. And while I'm sitting here, I want to hold this bottle. Now, maybe you know that water can remember your intentions. And this is why witches really love to work with the element of water. And while they are stirring their tea in the morning, they are speaking a spell into the tea, right? While maybe like stirring it clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on what you want to attract with a spell or achieve with a spell. And so while I'm sitting here, I really want to infuse this bottle with my intention. I really want to infuse it with my observations of this element. As I said, I really want the water element to speak to me, and this should all go into here, because right now while I'm sitting here, I already did my journaling. I just could feel that there is so many facets to water. Like it is soft in one moment, but then there is the wind, and then it's getting like really wild and expressive, right? And this is everything that I also want to embody, like really allow myself to express my emotions more and not suppress them, because this is what we learned, or what I learned when I was younger. And a lot of my friends also learned, like, don't speak up for yourself, don't show emotions, you have to be a good girl. And so I really want to embrace more of all of the qualities of the water. And so I'm going to sit with this beautiful bottle for a little while. And by the way, I love this color. It has this really gentle pinkish color. And this is what I really connect to, the divine feminine, like this really soft and friendly and kind, yet really expressive and bold color. And so I'm going to sit here for a little while longer, and then we are driving home and just craft some magical things for our altar. So really exciting. I already found a few shells, which I'm so happy about. I didn't even know that we have these kind of shells here in my region. It's like 30 minutes away from my home, and I found a bunch of shell pieces. So I'm going to turn them into something for the fairy garden, because I have so many ideas for the fairy garden when it comes to the water element. So make sure you are subscribed so that you can follow the resurrection of the fairy garden, because at this point it's nearly destroyed by the workers that did their work outside. So yeah, if you want to see that, make sure you are subscribed. And yeah, now without further ado, let's put our intentions into the water bottle and then let's drive home. Bella is already getting really like angry at me because she has to wait and she really wants to play and like have her time of her life. So let's do that and then let's go home. Shells are just beautiful and every single one is a piece of art. And to me, they represent the divine feminine that I so deeply connect to the element of water like nothing else in nature. And so the first thing I wanted to craft was an altarpiece / offering bowl made from some seashells I thrifted recently. And I wanted it to be as natural as possible, so I simply glued the shells together with a hot glue gun so I could always detach them from one another. And this DIY could even be used as a paint palette if you love painting. You can use it to collect rainwater in there, or it could be your go-to tool if you practice storm magic and need to collect some hailstones. Now I'm going to use mine on my altar to store some moon water in there, or water in general, to include the element of water more on my altar. So next on the list was crafting shell earrings, and I thrifted 2 beautiful sets of shells at a flea market. I think I even got them for free, and so I wanted to turn them into enchanted earrings. And I just really love the asymmetry of these 2 shells and the different shades of colors. Like, they are just so natural and unique, and I can only imagine that this is what a sea witch would wear. And I wanted to include these little daisy beads, but I did not really have the right tools and everything this day broke. Unfortunately, one of the shells from the other set broke, which is okay, I will craft something else out of it. But yeah, I just really love the look of these shells, and they just make me really feel like that sea witch. And next I wanted to create a hanger made from these mother of pearl discs that I had for ages at this point. And I just really love crafting hangers for my altar or for my home in general. I think they just really turn your home into a unique home, and you can be as creative as you want to and just simply use what you have at home already. And so I started by drilling holes into them and really blessed this thing because it's the most useful tool I ever bought. And then I started arranging them and just seeing how I wanted the hanger to be. And yeah, I used some organic thread that my grandmother made like years or even centuries ago to fixate them on a branch. I thought about using some acrylic thread, but let's just be honest, like no sea witch would use an acrylic thread. That could be a danger to the little creatures swimming around in the ocean, right? So I used organic thread, and I just really love it. The sound that this hanger makes is just magical, and yeah, I hope you can try it out too. Then I also had the idea to craft a water element altarpiece. Now, before I was filming this video the day before, I thrifted a bunch of shells, like these tiny shells, and other beautiful pieces of nature for only €5. And so I had the idea that I could craft a physical representation for the element of water on my altar, so it always reminds me to keep things balanced. And so I had this beautiful shell, and again these tiny shells that I thrifted, and so I had the idea that I could do this for all of the other elements as well. So maybe for the earth element I can use a wooden disc, maybe for the fire element a stone or something like that. So I will just see what I can find this year and create one of these elemental altar pieces for all of the other elements as well. But I was simply using what I already had at home. I used tiny shells, glass pearls, and whatever I could find, and I drilled more holes inside of this white shell, so whenever I find something I can still hang it onto, because I'm a treasure collector. Like, I just love strolling through nature and finding treasures, bringing them into my home. So yeah, this is one of my most favorite pieces I think I ever made. It is so cute, so magical, and yeah, I just love it. And by the way, you were seeing right, I in the beginning did the fire symbol. So I had the shell the other way, and then I draw the sign the wrong way. So I had to re-glue all of the shells onto it, but that's fine, that's fine. I have so many more ideas for magical crafts and how to bring the element of water and that sea witch spirit into your home. So we will definitely spend another day in summer inspired by mermaid core and the sea witch to bring all of them to life. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on them. Alright, magical one. So now it is time to redecorate the altar with the pieces that we made together. And this is my current altar situation. So it is really cluttered, and as you can see, there is not many things on there that represent the water element, except this ivy that I have up here and the water that it is in. But other than that, there is not a lot that represents the water element, which is interesting to me because, as I said in the beginning of this video, the element of water is one of the two elements that I just really feel most drawn to. It's one of the elements that is most present in my birth chart. And yeah, there is a lot of earth and air going on my altar. Like right here, there is the Beltane situation. We still have the mini maypole that we did together. So there is also a lot of fiery, innovative energy. And I just want to change this up. And yeah, I recently found out that I just can work better when there is a certain balance between the elements in my practice. And I feel like that for a very long time, I kind of was out of balance when it comes to all of the elements. Like I would focus on certain elements, and this is something that you can do by choice. But again, I feel like that my practice is the most powerful and effective if I'm balanced when it comes to the elements, because if you think about it, you are as well embodying all of the elements, right? Your breath is air and your body is the earth, then your blood is water, and your inner passion, like your heart beating as well, is this fiery element, the fire element. And so I really try to balance all of the elements. And even though I feel drawn to certain elements, I just realize that everything needs balance in my practice. So, for example, water is such an amazing element, but it needs earth, it needs stones so it can flow, right? If you have a lake, it cannot just float in the air. It has to have earth around it so it can flow through a forest, right? And also the elements are kind of interrelating to each other. So for example, the earth needs water so it can flourish, right, and grow things. And yeah, these are just the things that I realized in my practice recently. And so this is why I started kind of making theme days where I get into the other elements. And I said this before, but I really think that the elements that you try to avoid, like for example, I'm not into fire, like I'm actually afraid of fire, and I just don't really like to work with fire in my practice. But even though I'm afraid, I feel like that there is a message behind it, and that if I start to work with the element, I can learn more things about myself. Now, this does not mean that I have to do things that are uncomfortable, that I don't really like. But yeah, I feel like that the elements that we try to avoid are also giving us some insights. So this is just what came up for me recently, and so I'm trying to get my altar more balanced. And like this is something that I really want once I have a bigger space and I can like have a bigger space for my practice, like actually create an altar with different sections for each of the elements. Like right now everything is just thrown together, like everything that is like flowing into my practice is on like this space right here, right next to where I do my work. And I just really want separate sections, for example, for the elements, for the deities that I'm working with. And so yeah, this is kind of my way of already doing all of that, kind of crafting things and now making space for the element of water and really dedicating a little space on here to the element of water. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. And probably I'm procrastinating, so I don't have to clean this right here. But now let's clean, and then let's put the pieces that we made on our altar together. So the day was coming close to an end, and there was one last thing that I wanted to make, and it was a wisdom of the sea potion slash bath salt and a cleansing bath at the end of the day. And so I started by mixing sea salt with the lavender that I tried last year, and this is just one of my most favorite mixtures ever for a cleansing bath. I just really love the properties of the sea salt and the combination with the lavender, like the scent of lavender in a bath. It's just so calming and relaxing. And so I mix everything well together. You can use whatever you have in your home, and then I simply put everything into this beautiful glass bottle. Now, this bottle was not giving sea witch and mermaid core aesthetic enough for me, so I decided to decorate it, and I did some macrame because I just really love doing macrame. It's so calming and relaxing, and you really have to stay focused. And then I simply glued some shells on top of it, and I also did a sigil, so you will see that in a second. So I thought about what I learned this day about water, and so I created a sigil for all of the qualities that I wanted to start embodying more, and I drew it on the shell. And so every single time that I'm using this bath salt now, I'm reminded of the symbol, the sigil inside, and like what I want to embody more and what I can learn from the element of water and what I want to release when taking the bath. So I don't know, I just really think it looks so beautiful and magical, and I just really love it. I think all of these DIYs are simple and just turn your home into a sea witch slash mermaid core dream. Alright, magical one, so I really hope you enjoyed spending the Sea Witch inspired day with me. I truly loved it, and I hope it can give you some inspiration how you can spend maybe a summer day, or how you can invite the element of water more into your life. And yeah, we will hang out again next week, so I really hope you have a beautiful magical week, and see you then. Bye bye!